Hey there. Hey, what's up, ladies? Hi, queens. Happy Monday to you. Oh my gosh. I know I feel like a little bit behind, but it does feel like the very first week in January for me. Last week, I got to spend an amazing 4 days with a client in Clearwater Beach, Florida. So I just really, when I go on those retreats, I just submerge myself in her transformation and her coach and her, all the things that she's needing. That I got back a couple of days ago and I'm like, oh my gosh, I haven't had my first official week kind of starting off, the new year off in the beautiful right direction. So I'm super excited to just kind of hit the ground running this year. I've set some really powerful goals. And of course, along with those goals, I've already re-engineered everything backwards into everything that I need to do every day, every week, every month, every quarter, so that I reach my financial and health goals in 2023. Hopefully you've had a chance to do that. So yeah, today's a new episode of Between the Reps. And today I'm going to be diving into the topic of how to create habits and stick to them. I think it's an important topic because so many women right now are setting some really powerful goals and intentions. But at the end of the day, if your habits don't match your intentions, if your habits don't match your goals, you're never going to achieve them. Okay, you're never going to achieve them. So we are definitely going to talk about how to not just create the habit, but to stick to them. My name is Karissa Adkins, and I'm the #1 mindset and health coach helping busy CEOs, coaches, and lady bosses boss up their bodies, their mindsets, and their bank accounts. Me and my team help purpose-driven women 10x their habits, their routines, and their mindsets so that they can boss up, show up, and thrive in every area of life. So let me ask you these couple of questions. Or not questions, no questions. Sorry, I'm going to skip the questions today. Your life today is the sum of your habits. How fit or not fit you are is a result of your habits. How happy or unhappy you are is a result of your habits. How successful and unsuccessful you are, a result of your habits. How wealthy you are, definitely the result of habits. So what you repeatedly do, AKA what you spend time thinking about and doing each day, ultimately forms the woman you are today. So if there's not if there's a specific thing in your life that you're not totally in love with, maybe it's your body, maybe it's your health, your bank account, your careers, your relationships, your boundaries, your money, right? Yourself, you can change that relationship. And it all is going to come down to your behaviors and your habits. So quite often we think about our habits as all the physical stuff, right? I get up, I go to the gym, I look good. I eat clean, I feel energized. I set boundaries, I feel freedom, right? Like these are physical things. But again, I want to remind you as the #1 mindset coach out there that also what you are thinking is quite honestly sometimes habits too, right? You constantly thinking that you're never going to get healthy, you're always going to be broke, that it's hard to make money, that in order to survive this online business thing that you're going to have to sacrifice. You thinking that unconsciously and consciously is also a habit. So again, I want to remind you that everything that you do and think is forming the woman you are today. Good and bad. I like to think of it as a good thing, right? Because when you look at that, that means you have ultimate control over who you want to become and what you want to achieve. Pretty cool, right? So this is a great time of the year because you're all starting to work towards creating new habits, right? Because and this is a really good time, especially because we can use the energy and the momentum of having a new year, new you to our advantage. Now, they call me the queen of habit change because I not only help my clients form healthy habits that help them feel more confident, more successful, more healthy, more wealthy, and of course, more productive, but because I follow these same habits that I teach and then empower them to embrace. So many clients literally say, Karissa, when I say, why did you choose me? And they'll say, well, you're doing the damn thing. You are a woman of your word. You walk the walk. You talk the talk. And that makes me sit back and think, damn, I am a woman who loves her habits, who loves her behaviors, who loves her morning routines and her power down hours. I am a creature of habit change. And when I look back at all of my success in my life, it has all come down to the habits and the routines and the behaviors that I have conditioned myself to do. So when trying to change our habits, we really we need to first attempt to understand how they actually work, right? Because I get that question all the time, whether it's on a podcast interview, my own clients, or speaking from a stage, right? They'll say, Karissa, you're the queen of habit change. You talk about all these amazing habits. However, how can we form new habits? How would someone go about forming habits? Well, you have to understand how they really work. So today we're going to talk about how it really works and a few habits that you need to embrace in order to become incredibly successful. So the science of how habits work, right? It's the process of building a habit can be divided into 4 simple steps: the cue, the craving, the response, and the reward. Okay. Now we have the cue, the craving. I like to use habit instead of response, right? Because that's you responding, yes, but I like to think of it as the habit. And then there's always a reward. Breaking it down into these fundamental parts can help you understand what a habit is, how it works, and how to improve it. This 4-step pattern is the backbone of every habit, and your brain runs through these steps in the same order at the exact same time all the time. So let's talk about the cue, right? And trust me, I'm sure you've heard of the habit loop if you've read any habit books. This is not anything new here. But let's talk about the cue. The cue triggers your brain to initiate a behavior. Your mind is consciously or continuously analyzing your initial and your environment for hints of where rewards are located. Because this cue is the first step, right? It wants to move us toward a reward. Okay. It's naturally wanting, if something cues us to do something, we naturally want a reward at the end of it. Okay. So after we have the cue, right? Something cues you to do something in your life. Then you have the craving. The cravings are the second step of the habit formation, and they are the motivational force behind every habit. Without some level of craving or motivation or desire, we'll never, ever even achieve what we want to achieve. Okay. So behind every habit is a force of motivation. Without some level of motivation, right, some craving, we have no reason to act. So what you crave is not the habit itself, but the change in state it delivers. You don't crave smoking a cigarette. You crave the feeling of relief or relaxation it gives you. You're not motivated by brushing your teeth, but rather by the feeling of a clean mouth, unless you're a dentist, right? You don't want to turn on, let's say you turn on the TV. You don't crave turning on the TV. What you crave is relaxation or entertainment or laughter. Every craving is linked to a desire to change your internal state. I love the craving parts. When I'm talking to my clients, I'm always like, what do you get from that habit? What are you craving, right? If you're craving, most women, right? If we just take health, for instance, they're like, oh my God, I crave sweets. I crave, this at the end of the day. I'm like, yeah, but what are you really craving? You're not craving that specific food. I don't go around thinking, oh my God, I can't wait for that Snickers at the end of the day. No, you get something out of it. You get something out of that craving, right? So you have the cue, the craving. Now you have the habit, okay? The ritual, sometimes people will call it. The third step in this whole response is the actual habit that you perform, which can take the form of a thought or an action. It can take the form of a thought or an action. Is this making sense? Do you guys understand that? you're catching this live, let me know. I can see all of your, I can see your comments. So if you have any questions, definitely drop them in the chat. If you're catching this on a replay, yay, right? Let me know. Awesome. So drop a number 1 in the chat if you're like picking up what I'm saying, right? A habit can be a thought or an action. Have you ever walked by the mirror and thought, oh, your body is so gross? Yeah, that's a habit, because over time you've built up that when you see yourself in the mirror and you don't love what you see, you tell yourself that you're not, you're never going to get there, like some sort of negative thought, right? It also could be that physical habit, which is what most people start to think about in the new year. If I want to get healthy and lose some weight, then I've got to go to the gym. I've got to eat clean. I've got to get sleep. I've got to drink more water. All of this is great, but it's all physical stuff. And sometimes the actual habit you need to work on is the mindset stuff. It's the self-talk. It's the itty bitty shitty committee that lives inside of your head. Okay. So drop a number 1 if you're understanding what I'm saying there. So the 4th and final piece is the reward. Okay. Because again, we don't crave the cigarette, right? Something happens. We crave a cigarette. We have a cigarette. We get something from it. Okay, the reward is such an incredible piece of this framework. So the this response delivers a reward, right? Rewards are the end goal of every habit. This cue is about noticing the reward. The craving is about wanting the reward. The response is about the response or the habit is about obtaining the reward. And then of course you get it. Okay, you get it. You get what you want. We can split these 4 steps into 2 phases, okay? We have the problem phase, the solutions phase. The problem phases, okay, the cue and the craving, that's the problem phase. And it's important to understand that these are the problem phases, okay? The solutions phase includes the habit and the reward. And it is when you take action and achieve to change your desire, right? It's the solution. So if you've got something negative going on, let's just take smoking or binge eating. Let's take binge eating for example. Let's say you get bored. Okay. So you crave something. So you binge eat, then you feel satisfied. And then there's a 5th step that I'm going to get to here in a minute. But the cue and the craving are the problem phases. Okay. Because if there was not a cue that happened in your life and you didn't actually crave something, you would never then act upon these 2. So the second half is the solution focused. Okay. So let's break it down. Let me give you some examples. The cue, your phone buzzes with a new text message. Okay. We've all gotten that. We've all heard bzzz. The craving is you want to learn who just texted you. You're like, oh, what if it's this? What if it's that? Who could be texting me? That's the craving, attention. The habit is you grab your phone and read the text. The reward is you satisfied your craving by reading the message. You grabbing your phone became you grabbing the phone becomes associated with phone buzzing. Okay. So when the phone buzzes, you automatically pick up your phone. To test that out, the next time you're in a room and someone's phone buzzes, I guarantee you'll pick up your phone. You're like, is that me? Is that me? Again, these are not good or bad habits. I'm just pointing them out, right? We all do that. We're like, oh, is that my phone? We're craving that attention. We want to so desperately, speaking of, right? We want to so desperately want to check our messages. Okay. All right. Another one. Let's say you're answering emails. Okay. You're answering emails and you begin to feel stressed out or overwhelmed by your work. You want to feel control instead. This is a good craving, right? You want control because you're checking all the emails or maybe you're writing down all of your things you have to do this week and you start to feel stressed out about it. So it overwhelms you. Your body changes its state and instead your brain's like, oh, I want control so badly. So you start to bite your nails, something that you are in control over. Maybe you start to click your pen unconsciously. You want control over something. So you do it. So let's take your nails. You start biting your nails or picking your nails. So you satisfy your craving to reduce stress Biting your nails becomes associated with answering emails. So maybe the next time you're answering emails, you notice yourself just starting to read the email and you're picking your nail. Okay, that's a small habit that I always help women change when I'm on my retreats, right? We always take small, tiny habits. Some of them are small, tiny habits like that, okay? Let's say, this one's a good one. Let's say the cue is you just had sex. You begin to crave a cigarette. So you go outside and have a cigarette. Having a cigarette becomes associated with having sex. So all of a sudden now when you have sex, you automatically have a cigarette, right? Another one, let's say you hit a stumbling block at work, okay? You feel stuck and you want to relieve your frustration. So you pull out your phone and you check social media. You satisfy your craving to feel relieved. Checking social media becomes associated with feeling stalled at work. And then, oh my God, this one's the worst one, because now you're stuck on social media and you're spiraling out of control. You're like, oh my God, it's been 2 hours I've been on Pinterest, or you completely went down the rabbit hole. Anyone done that? Drop a number 2 if you've gotten stuck in the social media rabbit hole and you're like, oh shit. I just spent 40 minutes checking, recipes and whatever, God knows, the shoes that you didn't get for Christmas, right? Like that can happen. It's important that we understand our habits, okay? So now that we understand how our habits work, right, the habit cycle, I just want to tell you about a fifth one, okay? So you have the cue, you have the craving, you have the habit, you have the reward. But for many women, there's another step to this before hitting back the cue. There's the habit of shit talk, okay? So something happens, you get stressed out at work, you crave control, you go downstairs and you grab a snack and you're mindlessly eating. So now you feel satisfied because you're in control of the food you're putting into your mouth. And then you realize something. You're like, wow, no, I wanted to lose weight this year. You're such a piece of shit. God, can't you ever stick with the plan? Like that spiral negative starts to just, right? It's gross. A lot of women add this step on. So when I'm helping my clients change their habits, we have to address every part in the habit loop, even the shit talking phase. Okay? So now that we've understand how habits work, let's talk about how you can embrace or change the not so good habits. Okay? So number 1 is you pick a habit or routine you want to work on. So if you want to exercise more, or you want to eat better, or you want to become organized, whatever it is, make sure that it's something that is very clear and focused. It's so tempting to create vague goals. And vague goals such as lose weight, be more organized, have a better relationship, all of these are very vague, right? I want to lose weight, or I'm going to lose 20 pounds, right? It's vague versus very clear. I want to be more organized. I'm going to be more organized by constantly keeping my calendar organized, or whatever that is, right? I'm going to eat better, or I'm going to choose to eat healthy 5 of my meals every day. And then the last dinner meal, I'm going to have a lot of fun with my food. Okay. So I want you to get very, very specific. Your unconscious mind does not process vague goals. So you saying, I want to become financially free. What does that even mean? Because for some people that would look like a steady job. And for you, maybe that's $1 million. What do you want? So pick a habit and get very, very specific with what you want instead of what you don't want. Okay. So that's a step number 1. Okay. Pick a habit and decide what it is that you are going to improve upon. Okay. Back over a decade ago, gosh, I chose 2 habits. When I was 213 pounds, depressed, overweight, and smoked 2 packs of cigarettes a day. Yes, that was me. Pretty nasty, right? I sat down and I said, Karissa, what are the habits you're going to change? And number 1 was I was going to move my body every single day. And number 2 is, so it didn't matter what it was. I said, you're going to move your body for 30 minutes or more every single day. No exceptions, no excuses, no bullshit. Okay. And I committed to that. The second habit that I committed to that led to about 40 pounds of weight loss was portion control. Okay. So it wasn't just, I want to get good at portion control, or I need to eat less food. Okay. Your unconscious mind is not processing that. So you have to get very, very specific. I said, Karissa, you're going to go from 3 plates to 1 plate. That's all I changed. 3 plates to 1 plate. Okay. See how more specific that is? Awesome. Okay. So step number 2 is to establish a clear reward. We love rewards. I mean, think about, even as a child in kindergarten, they started grooming us for rewards, right? If you show up and you're good in class, you get a sticker at the end of the week. If you've got 5 stickers, you get something from the trophy bin, right? The little treasure box. We love rewards. So I want you to establish clear rewards. If you're trying to create a good habit, scientifically speaking, you need to treat yourself, right? A reward can legitimately be anything. A piece of chocolate, a half an hour of, your favorite TV show, you feeling accomplished, as long as it's something that makes you feel good and that it's something you want. It's totally okay to get creative with your rewards. Have a dance party after you complete your blog post. Watch funny cat videos after you've decluttered a project. Whatever brings you joy, go ahead and make it happen. But sit down, write out, number 1 habit I'm changing. What will be my reward when it becomes a habit? Step number 3, set a cue that creates a craving. Cues set the entire habit loop into action, and they do so by creating a craving, that, I gotta have it moment, right? That feeling. So at 3:45, when my alarm goes off, the cue is the alarm, but the second cue is, it's going to feel so good when you lift today, right? It feels good. This is a feeling. It's essential element to solidifying habits. And certainly you might recognize some cues that trigger the not so healthy habits or cravings in your life. Perhaps you see a particular fast food logo. Say you see McDonald's on, your YouTube ad. Then all of a sudden you can't stop thinking about French fries and double cheeseburgers. Okay, that's the cue. So not so good, right? Something happens and you start craving something. Okay, so I want you to always be focused on the positive. So think about what it is that you can create in the positive that will be your new cue. Okay, love it. Hopefully that makes sense. Step number 4 is how to override your bad habits. So once the habit is formed, it exists permanently in your brain forever. Yes, forever. There's a reason why we don't have to keep teaching ourselves how to walk, how to ride a bike, how to brush our teeth. Okay, once it's there, it's forever. But fortunately, you can actually restructure your pre-existing bad habits by keeping your cues and rewards the same and simply changing up your habits or your routines. So for an example, if you snack at your desk because you are bored, instead try taking a walk or chatting with a coworker, right? The cue stays the same. You still get bored at work. Unfortunately, that's just like if you work at a job that you're bored at, you're always going to feel like that. So maybe the cue is you feel bored, okay? So then you move into the craving. So instead, you're like, ooh, I want something, right? That's that feeling that, ooh, I want something. So instead of eating, you're going to go for a walk. Okay, so you can change the cue, you can change the habit. The reward typically is most of the time it's good for you, right? When I smoke 2 packs of cigarettes a day, when I really broke down that habit, I said, Karissa, it's not the cigarette that you crave. How gross is that? It's such a gross habit, right? My hands smell, my clothes smell, my hair smell. I was addicted to it. Okay, so I said, what do I really want? What do I get from going outside? I said, I get peace. I get time away from my kids. It's no wonder at that time in my life, I was going out once or twice an hour. My kids weren't bad kids, but it was the first time in my entire life I didn't work. So I was very bored. I was overwhelmed with what a mom was supposed to be doing in her life. I was unhappy, like overweight. Like it was all terrible, right? I was depressed. So of course I wanted to go outside and smoke a cigarette. That gave me freedom. So a cigarette equaled freedom in my mind 12 years ago, not today, right? I kicked that habit in less than 14 days, cold turkey, quit smoking. Okay. And I've still not picked up a cigarette since then. So yes, you can override your bad habits. Okay. So it's possible. So instead of snacking, right, I want you to ask yourself, if you have a bad habit, you say, what is the cue? What do I really want? And what is the new behavior I can do instead? So when I quit smoking, I still got the cue, right? The kids were still screaming. I still was having sex. I would still wash the dishes. I would still have a cup of coffee. Even the smell of coffee made me think, ooh, it's almost time to go out and have a cigarette. Okay. You get in the car. That's the cue. Hands are on the steering wheel, right? So what am I craving? Something to relax me. And instead of going out and smoking, because I also wanted to lose weight at that time, I decided to buy an elliptical machine. And every time I wanted to go out and smoke, I went down and worked out instead. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay. So you can change the habit. You can change the cue. Love it. Cool. So number 5 is plug into a community. Okay. I love community. I love being surrounded by people who want to be better. Okay. So in order to build and override a bad habit, you have to believe that you can do it. And I know it seems super obvious, but think of how defeating it can be when your bad habits seem to be controlling you. Right? At a certain point, it's super tempting to just throw in the towel. And by February 15th, most of you will have thrown in your towel on your health and weight loss goals. It's proven. Okay. A lot of goals, not just health and wellness. You're like, oh, it's getting really hard. I can't do this. That's why I suggest joining a community or a mastermind group or a coaching program that will help you achieve those goals. Okay. So whether it's a group of fitness junkies or a mastermind group, or maybe you volunteer or you go to church, like something, right? Support, like get surrounded by like-minded people. Okay. It allows me. So I remember when I joined my mastermind group this year, before I joined, I wanted to have $100,000 month. I was like, man, these people are literally celebrating like 80, 90, $100,000 in 30 days in income. And I was like, hot damn, I want to be like that. And I thought, if she could do it, I can do it. That's what surrounding yourself with positive people feels like. You feel empowered to step up. So the ladies in my group coaching programs, they feel empowered to step up. They're like, damn, if she can lose 5 pounds in this week, I can lose 5 pounds in this week. You have to first believe that you can. 2 more steps. Step number 6 is add your new habits into your calendar. This is a huge key to my success. Everything on my calendar, everything that is important to me on how I want to live my life is in my calendar. So my workout in my calendar, my spiritual practice in my calendar, right? Me going to bed at 8 o'clock in my calendar. I know it seems crazy, but it helps you form the habit. Okay. And step number 7 is you need to communicate your new habits with the people in your life. Don't just set these goals and say, I'm going to start working out and I'm going to start meal prepping and I'm going to start eating clean, and then not tell anyone. You're setting yourself up for major failure. Okay. So remember, communicate is key. If you're married, say, hey, honey, I'm going to start to work out in the morning. Would you like to come with me? If not, okay, no problem. I'm going to go by myself. Okay. But I am going to need you to make sure that you can watch the kids or blah, blah, blah. That's why communication is so critical in everything that you're doing. So I'm curious, what are some of the habits that you're working on? What are some of the habits that you're working on? Okay. Ask yourself that. Okay. And then I'm just going to kind of end today. I hope you found today's video informative and fun. Please take a moment to share below your biggest takeaway from today. I would love to know, what's your habit that you're working on in the new year? Maybe what's a habit you're going to leave behind? Maybe something that doesn't serve you. If you know women who could benefit from being in this community, please invite them to this community. And if you're ready to boss up your body, your mindset, and your bank account in 2023, I want to encourage you to book your no pressure BossUp Clarity call with me. This is a 15-minute call where I get to learn about your goals and some of the challenges that you're experiencing and facing when it comes to reaching your goals. And if it's something that I feel that I can help you with, I will absolutely set up another time for us to chat. But this initial call is literally just for us to get to know one another, and so that I can even see if I can help you, right? So if you're looking to boss up your body, your mindset, your lifestyle, or your business, please consider booking that free 15-minute call. The link is in the chat below. And with that, you guys, I hope you have a beautiful day. Join me next Monday for another fantastic topic all around stress. Plus, I'll be guiding you through an amazing meditation to really take your new goals, your new habits, and really set that intention into the new year. Have a beautiful day, you guys. Thanks so much.